guys, good morning.
Good morning. I assume that's what you all said.
Yes. Hopefully you're having a great Thursday morning. And this is Angel.
This is Poppy. Can you hear us? Raise your hands.
We're talking into the ether. Yeah, one more. Awesome.
Okay.
Here's Adriana, Heather. Hi, Heather.
Whoa.
Laura, Marianne, Melinda. All right, cool. Awesome. Now that we know everything's working, that's good. I hope you guys are excited to have some open houses soon. And what we wanted to do today was just go over some basic stuff that you should be doing when you're hosting open houses and, best practices and some fun ideas for you too.
Yeah. Oh,
all right.
Hang on a second.
Hang on.
Oh, there we go.
Okay. So according to the National Association of Realtors, approximately 50% of all buyers visit an open house as part of their search process. And actually, I think what we're finding too is that buyers are visiting open houses before they're ready to commit to working with an agent. So it's a great way to capture these buyers because they're more likely to go to an open house and call up an agent and view a property.
Yeah. Alrighty. So, you may or may not have seen in the Blue View yesterday that we have open house weekend coming up. It's going to be May 19th and 20th, and we are incentivizing it by if you have an open house during that time, and you have your information into MRS, and you let us know that you're going to be having an open, you'll be entered in to win a prize. And anyone that visits your open house will also be, if you upload your attendance sheet, then they'll be entered into a raffle or whatever to win some pretty bomb prizes. So Angel's going to tell you about those.
So I don't know if you guys remember, we had a resource page for open houses last year, and that's been updated. We'll send a link out later, but it's elitescoop.com/open house. And that has some best practices in there as well. Downloadables, you can download some signs that you can put up in the house when you're there, links to the apps and stuff like that. And also the place where you can upload your attendance sheet at the end, because what we'll do is the Monday following the open house weekend, we'll pick 3 names from all the lists that we got for consumers. So we'll have 3 prizes for the consumers to win. So make sure that they're filling out that attendance sheet when they're going through your open houses. We're also going to be promoting this. So the week before the open house weekend, we're going to be doing some Facebook campaigns with the open house weekend, and also freelance star ads that Friday before the 19th. So that'll be on May 18th. We're actually going to put all of the properties that are going to be open on the ad. So make sure that you're putting the open house information into the MLS, because we'll get that list. So that list will actually populate a page on coldwellbankerly.com. It'll have all of the houses that are open for that weekend. So make sure you're doing that. Actually do that as soon as possible, so that we can have all of the information. But we need you guys to do that by May 11th, because what we need to do is basically create the ad, and we need a week basically to put that together. So if you guys are planning on doing or participating in open house weekend, put that information in the MLS as soon as possible.
Yeah. And if you do hold a house open on that weekend, we are running 2 separate categories of agent prizes that you could win, which I am not sure exactly what they are, but they will be pretty cool. And the categories are most creative open house theme or whatever, and what's the other one? Best video? Yeah, so best video created at the open house or for the open house. So get thinking about those, and should be a good time. If you're going to be hosting open house anytime in May, this would be the weekend to do it, because we're going to be, really pumping it out onto social. And it should be a good time.
Awesome. And we'll send you guys some more information about this in email, so you don't have to remember everything that we just said just now.
As always, don't listen to anything we're saying. It's fine. All right, so best practices for open houses. You may or may not have already done this, but if you have an open house on your own listing, you are the one that is responsible for putting that date and time of the open house into MRIS. And this feeds into a bunch of other websites, but you're also going to want to go into Zillow as well and put the open house date and time in there. And you can create an open house section in Paradigm as well. So you may as well just go ahead and do that as soon as you know when you're going to be holding it, just so that it has time to get into search results and people will start to see it on Zillow, and it'll come up as, being held open soon and get into people's frame of vision. Yeah. Oh, sorry. And also, no, it's okay. You don't have to go back. There is a tutorial for how to put it into MRIS on that Elite Scoop open house resources page. There's like a little kind of walkthrough of how to do that. So if you've never done it before, it's not hard, but you can see that if you want to know.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and actually, one more thing with that, when you're putting in all the information about the open house, if you can also put it on coldwellbanker.com, but you just have to email Marilyn. That's also on that resource page. So if you just go on that page, most of this information will be in there. But email Marilyn with the date and time of your open house and the property address, obviously, and then she'll put that in for you.
Yeah. It's worth a shot to do that as well. You might as well. So best days and times. If you're the one choosing the time, sometimes people don't really mind when you hold their listing open, if it's someone else's listing or if it's yours. Generally, I see like Saturdays and Sundays, 1 to 4 or something like that. But if you are trying to really capture more of an audience's attention on a particular day, you could do an unconventional day and time, like Thursday 4 to 9, and do kind of like a dinner party or something like that. Or you could choose, something else like a pool party and have it in the morning or something a little different to kind of get people's attention. They're generally about 2 to 4 hours long, mostly because I don't want to be at a house for more than that time. But you can hold it open all day if you want. I mean, it's up to you. 2 to 4 hours is generally enough time, though. Like people, if they're gonna come, they'll plan for it. So I wouldn't worry about like having it open for 8 hours a day or whatever. The other strategy that I had was that if everyone else in the neighborhood is 1 to 4, if the houses are kind of spread out, you might want to consider making yours like a little bit different so that they have time to go, they have time to give all the houses enough time to look at all of them. If they're all in like a cul-de-sac, it's fine to have them all at the same time because they'll just go house to house. But yeah, if you want to be strategic about it, you can make yours a little different. And that's kind of the general wisdom on that, I think.
All right, so when you're scheduling an open house, you need to let people know, obviously, so that people will show up to your open house. Putting it on the different aggregators is great. That's going to get a lot of views on there, but you can also do Facebook marketing, and this is where CBX comes in, where you can take the buyer profile and target those specific people. So you can, actually have zip codes where you're targeting those people to come to your open house. So go onto CBX, plug in the property address and find that buyer profile. And then once you have that buyer profile, their age group, income, that's really important. So if you have a higher end property, you don't want to waste your money marketing to people that actually can't afford it. So Facebook will actually give you the income level for those people. So you can set that. So I wouldn't run it for longer than 2 to 3 days before the open house. If you do it even a week before, they're going to get confused. They're going to think it's that following weekend. So you can actually do it too early. Don't do that. Just 2 or 3 days before the open house is fine. Obviously, you want to post it to your followers and friends so that they know when and where it's happening. Even if they're not interested in buying, they may know somebody that's
Or they could just share it for as a way to support you, which is a great way to use your SOI. For your ad copy and your videos, you're going to want to make sure that especially anything that you're paying for to run as an ad, it needs to be high-res photos, needs to be good quality video. It needs to be, I would hope, something a little nicer phrased than whatever you have in MRS. It should not just be your MRS description. It should be compelling, description or a reason why they should come, and that type of thing. So think about that before you, spend all your money on just putting out basically an MLS ad. Don't do that. If you want to, you can also create a flyer using FlyerCo or Paradigm or Canva. There's tons of options. FlyerCo and Paradigm are going to be the easiest by far. And you can actually make open house specific ones. So if you want to do that, you can. And that's the gist of the digital marketing part. And that you can honestly start doing this as soon as you know when your open house is going to be happening. And if you have a following on Facebook or Instagram or anything, I mean, as many posts as you like in advance about the fact that you're going to be there or what you're thinking of doing, those kind of all count as like subtle touches. And I would definitely advise doing that.
When you're creating your Facebook campaign, make sure that you're not putting all the pictures in there. Choose the best features of the house. So if it has a pool, now would be the perfect time to do that. You can do Facebook will let you do testing, so you can use 2 different photos and see what performs better. And I did that, and actually it was clear that one photo performed way better, so I just stopped the other one. So it's really easy to do that, and you'll know immediately. If your ad is really good and relevant to the people that you're targeting to, you'll know immediately that it's working, and then you can choose which one to continue with or not.
Yeah, even one day on Facebook will be enough information for you to say, okay, I need to reword this, or I need to change the pictures, and then you don't have to waste your money on this.
Yeah, and it's very cheap.
Very cheap. Definitely don't put like $100 into an ad. Try a little bit first.
Yeah.
So, in real life, in the real world, you can also go door to door if you feel like it, or you can send postcards to all the immediate neighbors, let them know just that it's going to be happening, and then also remind them, if you know anybody that's looking, you want them to be your next door neighbor, here's a great opportunity. They might come to the open house anyway, just because they're nosy, so it's good to just get in front of that. And then I would also say now is the time, when you have free time ahead of time, to print out all of the info for little nice home book packets that you can have at the open house to give people to take with them. And this should have obviously all the MRS data for the house, all the home's features, improvements. I would also throw in like an RPR report or the mortgage breakdown from any of your favorite lenders. You could have, if you wanted to be very helpful, a map of other open houses in the area, community amenities, really anything that's going to show your value as an agent. This is not necessarily for them to buy this particular house. This is for you to show that you have thought of everything, and this is basically your way of selling yourself too, is that I can give you all this info, I've already thought of it, and here it is in a nice little thing, take it with you. Should obviously have your contact info in there as well. And then email your SOI. This is always kind of an easy touch because it's technically an excuse to get in contact with people. You can always be like, hey, this is what I'm doing. It's not necessarily like, are you thinking about buying? It's just giving people your schedule. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm hosting. And if they're not in the market, that's totally fine. They might think of someone who is, though, if they remember that, oh, yeah, they're hosting an open. Oh, yeah, they're in real estate. So always good to do that while you are waiting for your open house to happen.
For the mortgage breakdown, you can actually ask one of our movement partners, and they'll be happy to give you that to put it into that home book. As far as letting the immediate neighbors know, that's actually a great way to get in front of the neighbors and hopefully get that listing. By giving them, professional materials, the home book that you're making, you can give that to the neighbors. It's just a way to get their services, your services in front of them. So that's an awesome way to to get face to face.
Yeah, and if their neighbors are selling, 100% they are curious about the price, how you came up with that price, what their house could possibly go for. So it's a great way to start having that conversation. Maybe add them to a follow-up plan if you get their info. Yeah. And Movement, actually, they make like nice little flyers that have your contact info, their contact info, and it looks very professional.
Yep.
Yeah. So, what to bring? This is just my list that I generally bring. You can obviously improvise and make up your own stuff, but this is kind of what I found helpful after doing 100 million open houses. Okay. I go back and forth on the snacks and drinks issue, because some people go all out and they have beautiful snacks and drinks. They spend a lot of money having all this nice stuff, and then nobody eats any of it. Or you show up and there's some ratty cookies and it just looks kind of crappy. So it's up to you. It depends on how upset you're going to be if no one touches your stuff. I don't particularly go all out when I'm like buying food for things, because generally people don't come for the food. But if it's there, I want it to look good. So I always have like a nice little serving platter or whatever. And then if there's anything that comes with it, like napkins or whatever, it should look presentable. It shouldn't just be like, oh, here's some crap I found in the back of my trunk and set out on a plate. Yeah, so that's my back and forth on snacks and drinks. I always bring my laptop and my iPad, as well as charging cables, because 100% I will run out of battery on any or all of my devices, and be stuck in a house for 2 hours whistling to myself. I bring a bunch of business cards, your nice little packets that you've made ahead of time, and also any flyers. Those are nice to just give people when they first walk in, as like, here, walk around the house and have this in your hand. Bring a cell phone and a charger. This is a safety issue as well. Always have your cell phone and your charger, and or any type of like hotspot or boosting device that you need if it's going to be like out in rural, wherever. I would bring a paper sign-in sheet and pens as a backup, just in case your iPad and your laptop and your phone explode. You should have those. And there's a nice sign-in sheet on the resources page if you want that. Pick up your yard signs ahead of time. I always do at least 3. It depends on like how the roads are set up around there, but you want to have one at like the main intersection near there, and then the next couple turns to get to the house. And then balloons, up to you whether or not you want to blow them up yourself. I do not enjoy touching them, so I get them from Party City. Do what you need to do. And then anything you might need for your theme. If you have like a fun theme, go ahead and prepare all that stuff ahead of time, so you're not on the day freaking out, running around and trying to find tiki themed things for some type of festivity. Yeah, so that's generally what I bring. So, in the event that this is not your listing, you volunteered as a very nice individual to host someone else's listing open, my advice is to obviously look at MRS and study up on the home ahead of time, but also as you're walking through, kind of figure out what is going to be a common question. I mean, it's almost guaranteed that the first guy that walks in is going to ask you some weird question about where does the sewer line run? And, oh, is this a gas fireplace that has a so-and-so switch? Like, there's going to be some obscure thing that you don't know. So try and anticipate those questions ahead of time. And if you don't know, don't make it up. Just tell them that you'll find out and get them, get their contact info and all that stuff.
That's a good way to follow up with them too.
Oh, yeah.
Touch later after the open house is over.
Yeah, definitely get their contact info and then just be like, and here's the answer. And also, let me know if you're looking around. Yeah, but try and anticipate any questions and just know the basic facts of the house. It looks really bad when they walk in and you're like, I mean, I think it has like 5 bedrooms, unclear. Yeah, so when you're in there, you're going to want to ask visitors questions about their home search process, about what they're looking for, kind of where they're moving from, or if it's for someone else, all those nice questions that can give you sort of a personal connection or reason to get in touch with them later. You're going to want to demonstrate value with your materials and then also with your knowledge about the house and the area. If you feel like it's going well, the interaction, you can go ahead and ask for the next appointment in person. If that is not the situation, if they're not considering listing or selling or doing anything in the next couple months, you can say, can I email you? I have some ideas every so often about real estate related things. I think you'd like it. Can I add you to my newsletter or something like that, so that they have an idea that you're going to be getting in touch with them. It's not going to be a big commitment, but here's how I'm going to follow up with you. And then in person, it's really hard to say no. So you get a lot more cooperation on their end if you ask for it in person. You can also take that time to educate people about buyer agency. A lot of people think that if they come to the open house, they're going to meet the listing agent, and that's going to get them an in, and they're going to save money because they're just going to go through the listing agent and use dual agency. If you're hosting someone else's listing, this is a great opportunity to be like, I'm not the listing agent, but it's going to cost you absolutely nothing to use me, and you're going to have better representation. So, great segue into talking about that. And then this is very strategic. I've never ever been this strategic when choosing what open houses to hold open. I've literally just answered people's emails if they ever wanted someone to host an open house, but some of you are that strategic, and that's what I like about you. So if you want to, you can choose like a move up home so that anyone that's coming by might also be listing their current home. So, you're not concerned about whether or not they're going to buy this particular property, but you might get a listing out of them later on if you follow up with them. So, you can think about that if you want. If you are just trying to get into the game and just get your name out there, just get some marketing going on Facebook or whatever, I wouldn't worry about choosing houses strategically that way. But if you feel like it, go for it. Be as sneaky as you want. Alrighty. So my favorite apps. I haven't actually used the RPR mobile app. I just print out RPR stuff ahead of time. But it's nice to have it while you're there. You can pull up some info about the area and amenities and stuff, and then in market conditions. But my main thing is the Open Home Pro is what it's called. It's basically, you can kind of see it in that picture, but it's basically, you can use it on a computer or a laptop, and it's a sign-in app, basically, and you can tell it what questions you want to have in there. So you can have, are you working with an agent? You can have just their email and their name, or you can have a bunch of information required, and all these different options, and it looks very slick and nice, and you can actually upload a picture of the house so that when they walk in, there's like a picture of the actual house that they're in, and it's free. So it keeps all of that info, and it keeps all of their contact information for you, and it'll actually email you afterwards and be like, these 7 people came to your open house, here you go, here's all their contact info. You can pay for their like CRM, but there's no need. You can literally just take all the contact info and put that into Zap or whatever CRM you currently use, and you're done. I mean, it's so easy.
Did you already say that you have to set that up before you get to the house?
I didn't.
Okay. Yes, so you have to set up the open house information before you get to the house, just in case there's no internet access.
Yeah.
So you can get all that prepared ahead of time.
It'll work if there's no Wi-Fi, but you have to have the open house, like the property time and date or whatever set up in the app, on Wi-Fi. So just that's happened before that I have not done that and then gotten there and there's been no Wi-Fi and then my beautiful thing didn't work. Yeah, so as long as you have it set up ahead of time, you're good. But
there's always paper, though.
There's always paper and, back of receipts and all these.
Yeah. Okay. The RPR mobile app is good. Hopefully, you'll have the information about that specific house in that area in the home book. But if they're looking at other areas, it's really nice to have, and it's right there. You can give them the information while they're there with you.
And you can even email, like, if they want a particular report, you can email it to them from the app, and then you have their email. So, yeah. The morning of, I would advise getting as much of your stuff prepared ahead of time, because even if your thing is at 1 p.m., it takes longer than you think to put out the signs and do all that stuff. So the morning of, just get all your stuff together, get your car stocked up. I always have like extra bottled water, toilet paper, which has been important on more than one occasion, agency agreement forms in your car or whatever. You definitely want to post about it on your Facebook and all of your social platforms. Include the start and end time. Include where it is. Don't just say open house day and then no information about where the house is. You're going to want to post either a video or something that's going to catch people's eye that today is the day, this is when it's happening, it's going down. You're going to place your yard signs on all the major roads. And then I typically try and do 30 minutes. I try and get there 30 minutes before it actually starts so that I can walk around and get the house ready. So what a beautiful segue.
Oh, look at that.
Whoa, it's almost like I created this. Yeah, so to get the house ready, I make sure the seller is out of the house. Sometimes that takes longer than you think. I've had people just lingering, chit-chatting, and they need to be out. I mean, as like, rude as that sounds, you really can't have them hanging around. It's not going to work. Oh no! What does it say?
So we're looking at the questions right now. It says
is the sound working?
It's on. Yeah. Hey guys, can you hear us? Hopefully we haven't been talking for like
to ourselves
for nothing.
Can anyone raise their hand if you can?
Somebody raise your hand if you can actually hear. I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, thanks, Dave. Okay, good.
It's back on. All right.
I don't know what happened there.
Well, the gist of it is
we're going to monitor the questions now. Good.
We forgot that questions were a thing.
Perfect.
Yeah. So you're gonna get there 30 minutes ahead of time. Turn on every single light in the house, including under cabinet lights and every type of light you can find. I open all the curtains and blinds. I know some people have different opinions about like open them 3/4 of the way and point it down and have all these special things. I just open them all. I want to make the windows look as big as possible. I find a nice plug area so that my charging cords aren't like sprawled out everywhere in a weird octopus when people first walk in. So I get my computer and my iPad set up in like a nice corner of the kitchen or something so they're not in the way and they don't ruin the whole like look of the room. Set out your flyers, lay out your snacks. I usually set up like a coffee house playlist on my computer or iPad on Spotify, and then go ahead and start your Open Home Pro open house for the property. And then once you have all that set up, I usually take that opportunity while no one's there yet to walk around the whole house, take pictures, or do like a live video or something, and post to social so that, and just another way to hype up the start of open house. Yeah. I am coughing.
Okay, so when they get there, you obviously want to greet every guest as they come in and hand them a flyer and offer them snacks because sometimes they don't just go for the snacks.
Crazy. What kind of people?
Because I would. And yeah, you want to ask questions to determine if they're qualified or not, and also ask them if they are already working with an agent. Mm-hmm. That is important. And, it would also be nice to see where they heard about the open house because that will give you an idea of which marketing efforts are actually working.
Yeah. And when you ask questions, you should never be in the mindset of, okay, this person, they're not interested in buying a house. They're just here to look around, or, oh, they're just stopping in from, somewhere else. It's always a prospect, people in your SOI aren't technically looking for a house, but they're always a prospect. So you just have to make sure you figure out kind of where they are in the process and what type of follow-up plan you can add them to. They might be cold. That's perfectly fine. But there's still a lead that came into your space in person, and you have to kind of honor that by like making sure you pay attention to what they're doing there and serving them in the future. Yeah. So invite them to tour the house. I think the official legal answer is that you're supposed to walk around with them in every single room of the house. I'm pretty sure that is the like actual definition. If it's vacant or there's like a bunch of people, just try your best to like make sure that you are watching everyone. And especially if there's people's things in the house, make sure you keep an eye on who's in there and what they're doing and how long they're spending in each room or whatever. And obviously if the sellers are there ahead of time and you can see ahead of time that there's, valuable stuff laying out, advise them to just put it either away or take it with them or lock it in some type of thing because people do use open houses as kind of like a free-for-all. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you will get weird questions about the house that you don't know. Definitely don't make it up, and I wouldn't try and contact the seller or do any type of in the moment thing. I would just say, I'm not sure, but I can totally find out for you. I will ask the seller's agent, or I will email you about it later, and that's a good way to get back in touch with them later on and not kind of ruin the moment of oh, let me find out, let me go outside and take a call. You know what I mean? So just tell them you're going to find out later and then resolve it later on. Best part about open houses is that they're very long. and no one ever comes. So you have plenty of time to work on your marketing. Basically, I get bored. So if you are just sitting there for any amount of time, you can use that lull to draft out your video script. You should have at least one video. You don't have to be in it either. You could just be walking around the property, or it could just be a slideshow of pictures of the property. I would make sure that you have high resolution pictures or video quality. If you're going to go live and the feed is not strong, I don't think that's worth it. You may as well not do that and just take nice quality pictures and post about it later when you get into a good Wi-Fi area. But if you are in an area with strong cell reception and you want to go live, that'd be an awesome way to promote your open house. I usually draft out a video script and then kind of memorize it, or just have it sort of handy, and then film all my little clips and stitch them all together. And then I usually have video ready to go by the end of the open house, just because there's not all that much to do when there's no one there. So if you are thinking about doing that, there's plenty of examples, and there's examples on the open house resources page of videos that people have done. And I've seen a lot more people doing that. So I know that if you are friends with some CBE people on Facebook, you've seen other people's open house videos, and they're all fantastic.
So if you want to do a Facebook Live, you could actually do it. You can do a virtual open house, and you can actually market it as that, especially if you have more than one agent. So some people are not comfortable at all doing open houses by themselves, especially if a house is in a remote area and you really should not be in the house by yourself anyway. But you can market it as a virtual open house. Since you're already there, you can do a 20-minute Facebook Live thing, virtual open house. So that's kind of a neat way to just market it a little differently and have people, your friends and family in your sphere, actually join in online.
Oh yeah. And you can use that. I mean, if the quality is good enough and you don't say anything weird or whatever, you can use that recording and just stick it on your YouTube as like a house walkthrough. So there's plenty of ways to work on your marketing while you're sitting there for 2 to 4 hours in a prime listing. So these are my best fun ideas. If you know about Google, you can also go on there and try and find some.
Google.com.
Yeah, have you ever heard of Google? So this is kind of what I've heard of people already doing. So if you want to come up with something completely new and groundbreaking, that would be awesome too.
And let us know about it.
Obviously, tag me and whatever, but so these are, if you're completely new and never heard of progressive open house. Progressive open houses are like if you have 3 open houses in the same neighborhood, same cul-de-sac, and then you kind of just collaborate with those other agents and host it all on the same day, and they go from house to house. And usually there's like either a prize for visiting all 3, or there's like hors d'oeuvres at one and drinks at another. And so there's a bunch of fun ideas you can do with that to collaborate with other agents. It doesn't have to be all CB agents either. You can work with other people. You can always do raffles or prizes or giveaways. I've done like Starbucks gift cards for the 3 people that came, or something along those lines. You can make it more fun than that though too, if you wanted to make it more creative. I did a scavenger hunt one time, and I got little props and I put them all around the house, and then I had little clues, and then I made the clues turn into a sentence. You can see exactly how much time I had on my hands. This is back in the day when I didn't have a whole lot going on, but if you're new, you might also have a bunch of free time. So this was awesome because every single time someone came through and they found a clue, I would take a picture of it, post it to my social, and I had a bunch of interaction on those. And I also had a lot of interaction on my YouTube videos from that too. So that's kind of an interesting idea if you want to do that. Kind of like pampered chef parties, or if you know any other vendors, like if you have friends that do LuLaRoe or whatever, you could have them in the house, maybe for like a dinner party type situation, and use the fact that you all mutually use your SOI to market to bring new people that may or may not be interested in, they may not have seen your ads ahead of time. So you could use that. I know some people have done not Tupperware, but whatever the other, those other vendors that like use their SOI to market. You can also partner with like local cafes and local charities and things like that. So like, I'm going to partner with the SPCA and I'm going to have doggy field day on the front lawn or something like cute that's creative and different. Angel was talking about the virtual open house. Some people can't make it out to your open house, or this is the only way that they're going to visit an open house. They don't go out to visit, they're not in the market yet, but they'd be interested to see inside. So this would be a good way. You could just do Facebook Live and kind of walk around the house, and that'd be easy enough to do. You could have like a pool party or a barbecue. I've heard of people like getting a band and having like a tiki themed beach party or whatever. If you have a really cool listing on the water or something like that, you can really get crazy with it. And it's sort of up to you how far you want to go with it and how much money you want to spend on it. So if you come up with anything cool.
Yes. So I do remember when it was in one of those TV shows. It was a fun idea where the house was built in the 70s and it was totally still original. Like everything was still 70s stuff. So he did a 70s party where everybody came in 70s garb. I don't know what show that was, but anyway, I thought that was fun and taking into consideration the actual house and made it a fun event.
You could easily do that in houses downtown. You could have like costumed interpreters or something. If you wanted to get really crazy with it, you could have, I don't know, if it was a fixer-upper, you could have like HGTV type party there. I don't know. So it's up to your imagination. This is the time when you can get creative and the time when you can show what your brilliant marketing mind can do. Safety stuff. Angel could talk about that.
So safety stuff. There are some issues with open houses, and we want to make sure that you guys are just taking into consideration that there's, sometimes bad things happen. So when you're thinking about holding an open house, think about, is it an appropriate house to hold an open house in? If it is in the middle of nowhere, you're not going to want to be alone. You want to bring somebody with you, even if they're not licensed. I think I remember actually bringing my 20-year-old cousin one time, just to be in the house, because if there's more than one group in there, I don't want them wandering around the house by themselves. So just think about that. Ask the sellers to remove items of value before the open house. So any jewelry, if they have guns,
prescription meds,
medicine, stuff like that, just move it out of the way so that there's not going to be an issue later on. Consider bringing someone. We already talked about that, and all the visitors really should be signing in when they come into the house. So, direct them to where that is before they start walking around.
And keep those records as well for, I don't know, a good amount of time, because I even had a situation where I had people sign in on a piece of paper, and then I, put all those contacts, I emailed them or whatever, and then I just threw the piece of paper away. And didn't realize that in like 2 months, the police were going to call and ask if I knew who had been in the house that day because a necklace had gone missing. And I was like, I do know who had been in the house that day. I just don't have that contact info. But so if you're using Open Home Pro, those stay forever. If you have a piece of paper, maybe scan it and just keep that for a while. But it should be the first step. Whenever you see people, you should say, would you mind signing in? It's easy.
If you want, I've actually heard of some agents asking for identification before the buyers can walk through the house, so their driver's license. But you just have to remember, if you're going to ask people to do that, you have to ask everyone for their driver's license. But that's just a consideration, because if you have their real name and their driver's license information, they're
more likely to not do scary stuff.
So make sure your cell phone is fully charged. We talked about that. Bring chargers just in case. You don't want your cell phone to die in the middle of the open house. And then when they're walking through, direct them, tell them where to go, but always walk behind them. Don't walk in front of them, walk into a room and then they're behind you. It's just one of those things you have to think about. And then just be vigilant. If something doesn't feel right, make an excuse to go outside to make a call or something like that. Get yourself out of that situation where you can, call for help or get away. And
And even if you don't bring anyone, you can always turn on your location, share your location with people. You can have if you have Home Snap Up, you can use their safety timer thing if someone's kind of weirding you out. you have to remember, this is obviously everyone's familiar with open houses, but it is still a situation where you're meeting complete strangers in deserted locations. So, just have your head on straight.
We've just heard too many times where there's been, an incident with an agent alone in the house. And also, if somebody walks in and you just don't have a good feeling about it, you can say, hey, my partner's is on his way or whatever, just to make them think that somebody else is going to be in the house pretty soon. So just be careful, please.
Yeah. So you made it through. It's been a good 2 hours. We've had a good run, me in this vacant house. So now it's time to close it down. You're going to want to take any last videos or photos that you need because you won't be able to get back in later. Go ahead and turn off all the lights, but this is a perfect time to check all the doors because people will unlock basement doors because they want to get in later. So they'll walk around during the open house and then unlock some random doors that you don't notice, and then they have an easy way to get back in. So go ahead and lock all the doors, and just notice if anything's been moved or obviously disturbed or whatever. Definitely go get your yard signs and your balloons. It's always bad when you see someone's discarded yard sign on the Route 3 or whatever. Pick up your balloon trash, and that's kind of the gist of it. You can post any, thanks so much for coming to my open house or things like that. But there isn't a whole lot to do to finish up, just aside from just get all your crap out of there
and leave.
Get the heck out. So you are going to want to keep in touch with everybody that visited. I would email or text them all that day. Give them a couple hours, but that day, just a very simple thank you for coming. I appreciate it. If you need anything, let me know. Then you're going to add them to a follow-up plan unless they're already working with someone. I would add every single person to a follow-up plan. Doesn't matter. It could be cold. It could be uninterested or whatever, but make sure you have their contact info for later. And if anyone was particularly interested, I would call them a couple days later and just kind of check in and see, I know you loved that house. Thank you so much for coming again. How does it look now? How's the situation? Are you thinking about any other houses? Those types of things. And that's a great way to just kind of fan the flame a little bit. And then any content that you created, post your videos to YouTube, put your stuff on Instagram, use all of the relevant hashtags that you can use, and to make sure your description is optimized. You want to take advantage of the fact that you are advertising a product that people are looking for. So they might be looking for that product, but they're going to find you 3 months from now when that house is already sold. And you need to take advantage of that. So that's kind of my only advice for afterwards. The main part of open house work is beforehand and marketing ahead of time. But if someone takes the time to come to your open house, you have to follow up and make sure you pay attention to them. That's it. All right,
that's it. We're done. Again, the resource page is elitescoop.com/open house. Yes. For all the links and some of the stuff that we've talked about today. And you can download the attendance sheet in there, so you don't have to create your own if you don't want to. Or you can use Open Home Pro. But the list is in there. And then that's also where you're going to upload your attendance list once you're done.
Yeah, and if you are planning on having an open house, make sure that you let us know and come up with some awesome theme or a really cool video idea, and you could win a prize.
Awesome. All right, thank you guys so much for listening today.
Does anyone have questions?
Yeah, right, okay. If you have any questions, you can type it in or you can email us.
Apparently we lost the sound again. Good. Well, hopefully some of you heard something.
All right, we are going to, this is hopefully being recorded, so we're also going to send it out later. What happens when Matthew's not here and we're doing a webinar?
This is what I'm saying. If you have any questions, direct them to matthew@cbva.com.
Yes, perfect.
Okay, I don't see any questions in the thing, but you can obviously email us if you have any questions.
All right, thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.